I'm going to guide us through the loving kindness for self and for other practice, which I assume that most of you might be familiar with, but if not, that's not a problem. It is a practice on our weekend trainings, on our level 1 being present course. We do this practice on the 3rd weekend. And in the 8-week mindfulness-based living course, it's on normally in the 6th week, the 6th session, we do this practice. And it's a practice where we say phrases of kindness to another and then to ourselves. So we just bring someone to mind, a good friend to mind, someone that we naturally feel some warmth towards. You know, we don't have to overthink it, and we acknowledge that our relationships tend not to be black and white. So maybe finding someone that we have a simple relationship that we basically kind of get along with. And then we say some phrases of kindness to this person silently in our minds, and then to ourselves, and just noticing how that feels. And I think an important thing about this practice is that we're not trying to kind of generate or cultivate any particular feeling. Okay, so whatever arises is fine, you know, because sometimes we can have more difficult emotions arise, and that's fine. So that doesn't mean that we're getting it wrong. You know, it can be quite interesting to notice these blocks that sometimes we have towards cultivating kindness to other people or to ourselves. And I think an important thing with this practice is that the power of intention is incredibly important. Just saying these phrases, you know, there's these seeds of intention, these seeds of kindness that we're planting. So I will, when I lead the practice, I will use the phrases that I tend to use when I do the practice. But please feel free to, you know, use your own phrases, or maybe a particular phrase will resonate with you in some particular way. So please don't feel that you're limited to the phrases that I tend to use. You know, just find what works for you. Sometimes particular phrases might have a particular resonance for us at one time. Okay. As I said, I will, you know, quite clearly guide us through the practice, hopefully. But does anyone have any questions about that just now? No? Okay. So, if you would like to make yourselves comfortable, we'll sit for. I tend to get a bit engrossed in this practice. This is a practice I like, as those of you who've, you know, become here for a while know I quite often lead this practice because it's one that I enjoy, but I do tend to get absorbed into it. So it might be slightly longer. It might be about 25 minutes. And so if you'd just like to find a posture that's comfortable, you know, that really embodies kindness. So, you know, you might want to sit up a little straighter, maybe roll your shoulders back a little, but not forcing yourself to sit in a way that's uncomfortable. So as the sound of the bell fades away, just spending a moment simply noticing how we are this evening. It's noticing if we've got anything in our minds, any thoughts going around in our minds just now. What sort of a mood might we be in? How are we emotionally just now? And how might we feel physically? Just simply become aware of how we are in this moment. And to start this session, I'm going to read us a poem. St. Francis and the Sow by Galway Kinnell. The bud stands for all things, even for those things that don't flower. For everything flowers from within of self-blessing, though sometimes it is necessary to reteach a thing its loveliness, to put a hand on its brow of the flower and tell it in words and in touch, it is lovely, until it flowers again from within of self-blessing. As St. Francis put his hand on the creased forehead of the sow and told her in words and in touch, blessings of earth on the sow, and the sow began remembering all down her thick length, from the earthen snout, all the way through the fodder and slops to the spiritual curl of the tail, from the hard spininess spiked out from the spine, down through the great broken heart, to the sheer blue milken dreaminess, spurting and shuddering, from the 14 teats into the 14 mouths, sucking and blowing beneath them, the long, perfect loveliness of sow. So in this guided meditation, I'm going to guide us through the loving kindness for other and for self practice. And perhaps our intention here can be simply to give ourselves the opportunity to cultivate a little kindness to ourselves and to others, and to possibly notice any blocks we might have to this. We can pause for a moment and just reflect on our motivation here. How might our lives be if we can be possibly a little more mindful? If we can be a little kinder towards ourselves and those around us. How might this naturally benefit us and our family and friends and everyone in our lives. So finding the breath in the body now. And gently allowing our attention to rest with the natural rhythm with of the breath. And to help create conditions that might allow the mind to settle a little. You might want to allow the breath to deepen, maybe to lengthen slightly. Maybe do this gently without forcing anything. And if you're used to equalizing the in-breath and out-breath, you might want to do this. And as we allow our attention to rest on the breath, thoughts and images, memories, they can all still come and go. So we're not trying to make our minds go blank. Simply allowing our attention to rest on the breath in a very gentle and a very kind way. And if we're equalizing the in-breath and out-breath, we can let go of this now. Letting go of any counting or any phrases we might be using. Allowing our attention just to rest with the natural soothing rhythm of the breath. As we bring our attention slightly more to the out-breath. Possibly noticing how the body naturally relaxes very slightly with every out-breath. As the awareness of the out-breath leads our attention more fully into our bodies. And a sense of the breathing body sitting here, unconditionally supported by the ground beneath us. As we notice maybe the feeling of the floor beneath us, the feeling of cushions or the chair, feeling of our bodies pushing down, the weight of our bodies. And just opening to the feelings of contact and support. As we open to whatever sensations are present in our bodies this evening. And if we notice any sensations of tension, or of difficulty, or unease, or pain, just seeing if we can turn towards maybe these more challenging sensations with gentleness and kindness. And at any stage in the practice, we can always move to make ourselves feel more comfortable. So finding whatever's kindest for us in this practice. And at any stage in the practice, we can always come back to this sense of the breathing body sitting here, unconditionally supported. As we widen our attention to include sounds and smells. And if you have your eyes open, to include what you can see. As we come to simply resting here, just opening to our experience, whatever it is in this moment. And as we begin the loving kindness practice, I invite you, if you would like to maybe make a gesture of kindness towards yourself, a gesture of self-soothing. So maybe you want to bring one hand against your heart, both hands, give yourself a hug, or maybe just hold your hands. You don't have to, but if you would like to, just noticing how this feels. Just noticing how this feels physically, how it might feel emotionally. So just make this kindness, gesture of kindness to ourselves. And invite you now to bring to mind a friend, someone that you just naturally feel kindness towards. And it could be a pet, it doesn't have to be a person. Maybe someone you just have a natural warmth towards. And you might be able to imagine the person sitting in front of you or beside you. If maybe you're not so visual, and that's fine. Just maybe seeing if we can have a sense of this person. Imagining their voice or their laughter. Remembering a time that we were maybe together, that we were happy. And can be playful here. As I said, just seeing if we can have a sense of this good friend. And then in our own time, we can imagine ourselves saying phrases of kindness silently towards this person. You might want to say phrases such as, "May you be happy." "May you be healthy." "May you be safe." "May you live your life with ease." So possibly finding maybe a couple of phrases that are meaningful for you this evening, that resonate for you. And just noticing how it feels to silently imagine ourselves saying these phrases to our friends. And we might want to use their name as we gently and kindly say to them, "May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live your life with ease. We're not trying to fabricate or cultivate any particular emotion as we say these phrases, but noticing how it might feel, noticing any sensations in our bodies, being aware of any emotions, what thoughts might be in our mind. And if we're not aware of any emotion in particular, that's perfectly fine. The intention to open our heart to this friend is in itself extremely powerful. So are there any last words of kindness we would like to say to this friend? Maybe some words of kindness we might be too embarrassed to actually ever say to them in real life. And noticing how that might feel to say these words to our friend. So letting go of any phrases, any words now. Perhaps thanking our friend for being in our life, for being in our practice. And letting go of this sense of them, letting go of any images, coming back to simply resting here for a moment. Noticing how we feel in this moment. How it feels to sit here. As we now bring phrases of kindness to ourselves. We can silently say phrases to ourselves, such as, may I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live my life with ease. Noticing any blocks, any resistance we might have to this. And that's okay. Just being kind to ourselves in this moment. Again, this intention to be kind to ourselves. It's incredibly powerful. How does it feel to say phrases of kindness to ourselves? Possibly finding our own words here. But we might want to say phrases such as, may I be healthy. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I live my life with ease. What words of kindness would we most like to hear this evening? What words of kindness would we like to say to ourselves? What words would we most like to hear? And letting go of any words, of any phrases now. Just coming back to simply resting with this sense of the breathing body grounded here. And just noticing how it feels to sit here. Just seeing if we can accept how we are in this moment. And as we approach the end of this practice, possibly making a wish that by training in this way this evening, that this has been really in our deepest benefit. Also making the wish that this won't be only for our benefit, that this will benefit everyone in our lives. Our family, friends, colleagues, everyone in our lives that we come across. So thank you everyone.